Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. Nathan Evans, manager of the
that great, wonderful online website.
Podzera, is here with us.
Perfection personified.
Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities. And the first hour, we're going to talk to the co-founder of Seaway, who is actually out at the Consumer Electronics Show. It's going to be a lot of fun. So sit back, relax, enjoy 2 hours of Computer America. You got 20 seconds. I didn't say managing editor.
I've been called worse. I don't, titles are so,
Your
perfunctory.
show will go live
Here we
in
go.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I am your substitute co-host, Nathan Evans. Hey, Craig, what's going on?
Hey, Nate. Nathan Evans filling in for Ben, who is out at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Nathan Evans, as you heard, is the managing editor of Podzera, longtime friend of the show, and he is co-hosting with me throughout the week. And it's just so far, it's been a wonderful experience. I mean, I've been having a great time with all of this. Nate, hopefully you're enjoying it as well. And despite the stress and what have you.
Stress?
Yeah, stress. Making sure everything goes on and as planned, because as you know, things can go horribly wrong, and then what do you do? But
then you pick up the pieces and you make it work.
that's right. And but thanks to the technology gods, really everything has been working quite well, given all of the.
Yes, surprisingly well, actually.
Yeah, right. It is surprisingly well. We may recant to you, our listeners, all the things that went wrong.
Oh, goodness. Where do we start?
Yeah, like Ben not showing up with his computer not showing up and having to borrow it from
Canceled flights.
canceled flights. I mean, it's just. But he got from Origin PC. He got from the CEO of Origin PC was nice enough to lend him his laptop, and of course we're going to have him on the show. He's been on the show before. We're going to have him back, Mr. Wasilewski, and we're going to have him on the program. So, things are coming along, things are working well, and of course today is the official start of CES, and our first guest is actually out at CES. But let me first give you the rundown here. If in the second hour it's going to be Computer and Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, if you have children, if you're worried about losing them, we have the co-founder of a company called Seaway is going to be joining us in a few moments. And he is actually out at the Consumer Electronics Show as well. Now, if you have a comment or question for our guest, please give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. If you're radio shy, you still have a question, just go to any page at our internet home, which is ComputerAmerica.com. And on the upper right-hand corner of any page there, you'll say Submit a Question. Just click on it. You'll go to our question submission page. Type in your question for our guest, or for me, or for Nathan. Hit the Submit button, and I will see it immediately, and we'll ask your question on your behalf. Okay. The other thing that you can do is you can also watch the Computer America Show. I understand we're a radio broadcast, but we have for some time now been streaming our live video, and we continue to do that. Just head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Go to the Show Lounge. It's on every page at ComputerAmerica.com on the little menu that's there. Just click on Show Lounge. you will immediately the live video stream will take you to the place where we are live, already in progress, and you'll actually be able to see the show from where we are, and watch the program. If you're not doing this between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, those are the times that that's the time we're live. Then you'll see an archive of the show, and it'll also take you to you can also go to our archive page and go to all the different places that carry the Computer America program. It's all there at computeramerica.com. Now here is the thing that by the way, I just did a check and we are on the network. I just had to do that just to make sure. If you let's see, Nathan, anything else you want to talk about? I mean, how's it going with your guys out there? I know you've got Josh Boykin out there. Did Herman finally show up? Did he finally make it?
I think he did. Phones have been a little phone reception has been a little iffy on some networks. I have a meeting with him after this show today, so I'll be able to fill in tomorrow. But I know that I checked the plane flights, and miracles of miracles, the plane actually did leave off the ground, even though it was delayed.
Don't you have that little app? I have one called Flight View. It's right on my phone. You see the map of the thing, and you see the plane, and it shows you the path. It tells you when it arrives. It tells you when it gets to the airport. You know, all that stuff. You should have that little app.
You know what I should do? I should get a Seaway wearable for Herman, so I can keep track of him wherever he goes. And then it's like, wait a minute, he's at Dunkin' Donuts again.
Yeah. You should do that all for all your for PopZera employees, and you keep track and say, why are we with Dunkin' Donuts when you should be working? Exactly.
There was a really famous Dilbert comic strip about 15, 20 years ago, where the boss required everyone to wear trackers. They basically compared them to dog collars. But why would you need that when everyone has a cell phone? You can track. I'll get into the news later, but technology will track you no matter where you go. That's the upside to companies getting your geolocation data.
Well, evidently, what made it in the comic strip 10, 15 years ago is now reality, and and here to talk about it is a company called Seaway. Now, Seaway has developed a wearable GPS locator specifically designed for kids from 3 to 10 years old. It is the first wearable locator with a Lego platform and a range of add-ons. Really. Now, joining us is Thibaut Chomet. He is the co-founder of Seaway. Thibaut, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hi, Craig. I'm good, thank you. And you?
Doing well. So I see you're out at the Consumer Electronics Show. How are things out there?
It's really good. I'm actually on the booth, and there is a lot of people who comes to see the Seaway products.
Excellent. Well, we're so glad that you would take some time to join us on our live broadcast here on Computer America. So why don't you, first of all, give us a little background. When you say Seaway, and that's a capital letter, C, and then a hyphen, and then the word way, what does it mean, Seaway? What does that mean? What's the significance of that name?
It's quite simple. Seaway is for children. Where are you? Actually, we gave this name to the company because we want something American, I would say, an American name. And children, where are you is this is our mission. We are producing devices to be sure that the kids are doing the right thing at the right place. So that's why we gave this name to our company.
Well, very interesting. See, children, where are you? Okay. Tell us a little bit about the company. How long have you been around, and I mean, how did this all start? Did you?
Everything starts 2 years ago. Right now, actually, we are parents. And we have 3 kids. And one day in the amusement park, we just lost the kids for only 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, that's horrible. It's horrible.
That's horrible. You know, these 5 minutes are something like 1 year for us when you're a parent.
I know. Well, so, I had a similar experience. Our son, Ben, we took him to the movies, and he decided to go to a different theater showing the same movie because it was a multiplex, but we didn't know that, and for like about 20 minutes we didn't know where he was, and finally He was just sitting there watching the movie, and my wife is literally in tears, and it was horrible, just for 20 minutes. And so
For parents, it's really horrible. So this day, we promise that will never happen again. So first thing, we just buy the devices on the market just to try it, to be sure that we can fix this kind of issue. And we consider that most of them are not really adapted for kids. Okay, it's a big wearable, or it's a phone on the arm of the kids. So we say, okay, there is something was missing, and we decided to design a new device. And this device is designed by kids and used by kids. I think it's a big difference. We are not a technical people. We are coming from marketing, we are coming from sales, and we are really focusing on the use case. And we work a lot with children in many different countries to be sure that the device we're working on will fit with their needs, and they will enjoy wear it every day.
Really? Now I'm looking at the website, which is Hello Seaway, HELLOCWAY, HelloSeaway.com. That's the website. And I'm looking at some of these devices, and I'm sure you can hold one up too for our listeners or watchers to actually see it. But where did you come up with this design? I mean, it's very, very cute. I mean, you have the basic unit, and it looks like you have like a Lego cap to it, and where you can actually attach Lego parts to it. How did you come up with this design?
The idea comes from child, to be honest. The challenge for kids wearable, it's between 3 to 10 years old. They don't have the same needs, okay? They don't enjoy the device in the same way. So we decided to bring something scalable, okay? And the best way for young people to enjoy something is to play with their Lego figurine, because Lego, it's all over the world. It's a really strong branch, really strong. So we decided to put this Lego platform on the top of the device, and in this way they can play at leisure with their figurines. So now our kids, and in France, kids can play with their Lego outside the home, outside their room. So it was the first step. And through this Lego platform, we can plug add-ons on it. For a kid around 5 or 6 years old, it can read text messages, or it can read time on a watch, on a screen. So the first add-ons is a screen, so you plug it on the bracelet, and the bracelet takes live. So it can receive you SMS, your short message, it can receive notification, it can receive a lot of information through the apps. So it's the key point is how to design a bracelet who the kids will enjoy plays with and keep it all the day long.
Now, this is quite amazing. So you have a display on it, or you can choose not to have a display on it and put with the Lego. Looks like a cover or a cap over it, and and then you can literally track your child no matter where they are. It's true GPS no matter where they would be in the world. If they're far away, you can track them if they get on the wrong plane or something.
Exactly, it's working in 110 countries right now with the same price, I would say, monthly fee. Mm-hmm. And through the apps, exactly, you will know at any time where is your kid all over the world. But it's not really a tracking mode. We worked in a different way. In the apps, in the Seaway apps, we have an agenda for the kids. Okay, so you will insert in the agenda all your kids' time schedule. So you will say, for example, between 9 a.m. and 12 a.m. he has to be at school. Okay, so you will receive a notification when your kids will arrive at school and when he will leave school. Okay, so the idea is really to be sure that your kid is at the right place at the right time, not to track him each minute or the day. It's really a different way to manage the tracking mode.
Hi, Thibault. Nathan here for a second. That's very interesting. So what you're saying is that the Seaway wearable, it has a check-in feature the way a lot of mainstream apps do. So I assume it uses geolocation. So if you can, will a parent be able to program a destination, like you were saying, a school or a babysitter, and when they reach that destination, it triggers an alert for the parent?
Exactly,
Oh, very cool.
And the kids on the screen, if he's 6 to 10 years old and he wears the screen on the Seaway device, he will receive a notification when it's time to go to football, for example, after school. Okay, you will not have, as a parent, this notification, but when he will arrive at the food camp, you will have the information that is at the right place. Okay, and if you as a dad and it's your time to keep your kids after the food training, you will have on the apps the information that it's time to go if you want to be at time to pick up your kids, because there is a lot of traffic jam. So it's really, we want to give more independence of the kids, but of course we want to be sure that everything is okay.
Is there a fail-safe, for example? Let's just say your child doesn't meet his location destination. Is there a fail-safe, or is there a mechanism of which the parent will be alerted, or possibly even the authorities, in the event that something catastrophic happened? Is there a backup for that?
If your kid is not at the right place at the right time, you will have a notification. And in this case, you can track him immediately. Okay? We don't have any link today with any authority, with the police or something like that, because in 99% of the case, it's nothing. You know what I mean? It's just because he's late, he's with another friend or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, but we are working on it, especially in the US, because we know that it's something important for American people.
Yes, in Americans, they have a term called helicopter parents. and I'm sure you understand, is that sometimes parents can be a little claustrophobic and a little too, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Thibault, but in America they sell dog leashes for children. We actually call them dog leashes, where you see them all over the place, where parents just have their kids on a leash. And and they have that. It's crazy. And that's very controversial here. But I had one final question. This is a great idea for kids because it's tetherless. But I see the Lego design, and Legos are very popular with big kids like me. For 30 people who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, can we have adult versions? And onto that, what about pets? Because tracking pets in this country has become a big thing, and pets are crazy when it comes to wearing things. So I was just wondering what the future lays on that type of scalability.
For you, I can have a device if you want. No,
okay.
No, and you will play with your Lego.
Thank you.
Regarding pets or old people as well, it's two different markets. And we decided to focus only on children market. For the main reason is that we don't put the same device on your cat or your dog that on your kids. Okay? It's not really the same needs. It's the same technology, you're right, but it's not the same use case. And we are really focusing on the use case. Mm-hmm. So we will not go right now on this market. Maybe if we become bigger and we want to extend our business, we will create a new company, and it will be paid by Seaway. But right now we are focusing only on kids and use case for kids.
Now, that's good. Now, we got so much to talk about here. I have so many questions for you because this is a remarkable device. And when I'm looking at I'm on your website, helloseaway.com, and what I'm seeing here is really amazing. For example, one of the features that you offer here is something called is augmented reality. So basically, with your smartphone, it will actually show you a picture of where your kids is located with a label, so you can actually, if you want to know exactly where they are in the park or where they are, you can actually see the environment where they're located. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that looks to me incredibly amazing.
Yeah, it's quite simple actually. It happened for us this summer on the beach. Okay, you lost your kids. You know he's on the beach, but where on the beach? On the left? On the right? It's not so simple. So in the apps with your augmented reality, you will switch your camera on, okay, and you will turn your phone just around you, and you will see what is the direction where is your kids, and it will tell you, okay, your kid is on the right at 70 meters, for example, or on the left at 200 meters, okay, or in a park, for example. Maybe your kid is just 2 meters behind you, but there is a wall between you and him. So with this kind of functionality, you can say, okay, it's just 2 meters this way, just after the wall. So it's another use case to use the technology.
Yeah, it looks like what you see is you see the camera image, and then it looks to me like a little balloon, you know, a dialogue balloon appears with a pointer, and then there's a picture of your child, and then a description of it. So you're actually seeing physically the location, and your child's name is in there. I think there's something underneath it too, which I can't read. It's too small, but
it's the distance between you and the child. So you got the profile of the kid, and he say 200 meters on the right.
So okay, so it gives you the distance. It tells you exactly, and you have a little pointer, and you're looking through your camera on your smartphone, and you're seeing exactly where your child is located, and you can literally walk and follow the camera, which to me is an amazing use of augmented reality, an application actually of augmented reality, and I think that is so clever and so smart. That's wonderful, because you're right. I mean, with a GPS, normally you get the general area where it is, within a few, as you say, a few meters of where they are, but you don't know if it's to the left, it's right, because and especially if you're in a wooded area, you don't know which way to go.
Exactly.
But with the camera, with your augmented, you're actually using the smart camera, the camera in your smartphone. You're seeing it, and then you're seeing the little dialogue balloon, which is pointing physically to the exact spot where your child is standing, and then you can go and find them, and of course call out or whatever, and there they are. Who came up? Now, whose idea was that? Was that your idea, Thibaut?
It's a mom idea, to be honest. Okay, only a mom can have these all good ideas. So the company is the CEO of the company is a mom. She's a lady, Jane.
Yes.
And she works a lot with kids. She's coming from marketing, and she has a lot of good ideas to be sure that the kids will enjoy playing with this kind of device and this kind of functionality. But yes, she's really she's thinking as a mom. It's really a big difference from my point of view.
Quick question, Thibaut, about the founder, and I think it's Gian, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of talk about diversity in technology and about the lack of gender dynamics, especially when it comes to women. And but when most people talk about this, they talk about this about women in roles when it comes in CEOs and management. But I think it's great when you start to see how women in technology can impact ideas that we haven't seen before. For example, if you were to leave technology and GPS to, I hate to say it, us menfolk, you'll get robots and you'll get phones and everything. But this is such a simple idea. I cannot believe it hasn't been done. And I hate to say it, but you have a really talented lady who works with children, and she sees a need and she fills it. And I think that's a better example than a lot of them we've seen lately.
Thank you. I fully agree with that. Technology is just a support to we never start with a technology feature. We start with a use case, and after we check a lot our engineers to be sure that they will fix everything in this specific device and do this functionality. But technology is just a support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, you have two different versions. We're going to get to some of the other device too, but right now, this is the would you call this the plug-and-play GPS wearable? Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. And
plug-and-play GPS. Yeah, because the platform Lego and the technology is open to other providers. For example, we are working with a partner for hide and seek add-ons. Okay, it will be a play. You will plug it on the device, and imagine you are in a park. You have 4 kids with a Seaway device, and they will press the button on the hide and seek add-on everywhere in the park, and one guy will have to find the kids. And through the Bluetooth technology, when you come closer to the kids, you will have a button, and when you find the kid, it will be a beep. So it's another way help children play outside and using technology. So the platform is really open to many partners. Okay, we are discussing with a Disney park in France. They are interested to do a specific plug to put on the device to let push more information to kids, or to find a new way to enjoy the park with this kind of wearable.
Thibault, I've got a quick question about this. When you mentioned being in a park with children, and about using close quarter Bluetooth as a way to sort of enhance games, and I think that's fantastic. Now I have a quick question, not to change the subject, but what about the tracking technology this offers to parents in a way that may be quite protective? Not to get into controversy or controversial subjects, but in the United States and other parts of the world, we track sex offenders through websites. And a lot of that information is available on things like Google Maps and Bing Maps and all this. Is there a way, does Seaway do this now, or maybe in the future, a way of alerting parents, for example, if their children were to go to a neighborhood where there were sex offenders, that the parent would receive a notification, uh-oh, I just want to make sure, and therefore they have that information available to them on their device to do with as they please?
Actually, it's not in the roadmap, but it's a good idea. We are coming from France. We are a French company, and we don't have the same maturity regarding this problem in Europe. So it's not already integrated in the solution, but it's not so difficult because through the apps, where are the parents as well. So if you have the data coming from an external system, we're saying where are all these guys. Of course, you can have the information, and you can be sure that your kid is not too close from one of these people.
Yes, and as a follow-up to that, because again, you're enabling this collective service for when you're in the park, you can interact with other Seaways. So another quick question is, this is very cool, is let's just say the parent isn't able to pick up the child or they're late in traffic. Is there a way that they can communicate with other Seaway users, say, hey, Brenda, can you please pick up my child? I won't be able to make it.
Exactly. It's actually in the roadmap. It will be in the V2. We want to create a community. We want to create an ecosystem. We don't want to die, I will say, with our own technology, our own device. We want to be in an open world. So yes, we want to create a community of parents Seaway. And if your child is lost, for example, you can ask to another Seaway parents to pick up your kids. And there is a kind of certification, If the parents got a Seaway device for their kids, it's a Seaway certification, so you can trust these people, and you can be sure that your kids will be safe the time you come to pick him up. So it's actually in the roadmap.
Oh, nice. That's what I was thinking. That's a great idea.
It's yours.
Send a check to Craig. No, I think what you're doing is allowing wearable technology. You're matching wearable technology in a useful way that I think makes a lot of sense to me, because I know in the United States there's this whole big shabab. You're at CES. You see this. Everything is wearable this, wearable that. Where we just had the President Obama on television, and he was talking about his Fitbit. And everyone's saying the word fit, athletic. They're all applying it to exercise, but I think it's wonderful to see technology scale to the average consumer in a way that's useful, as opposed to just being athletic.
Now,
Hello?
yes.
No, that was it. I'm sorry. That was it. I like the efficacy of your product in that it's useful, as opposed to just like, I don't need to lose weight. I could probably stand to gain a few pounds, but they don't make a donut wearable. So I think this is interesting as a way to introduce to help parents get along with their children in a way that's not suffocating. That's what I'm saying. I think it's interesting, especially with the Lego aesthetic.
Yeah. Did you have to do any kind of licensing or with Lego to make this happen? How did that come about?
No, the Lego platform is open. Everybody can use it. You can't use the Lego figurine. Okay, this is protected right now, but anybody can use develop something based on the Lego platform.
Really?
But we are in contact in Lego, of course, because we offer them another way to bring the Lego figurine outside the room of the kids and outside the home. So we are in touch with them. We are discussing, but it's a big company. They don't need Seaway to be big for the moment. I mean, but we are in discussion, of course.
Oh, well, that's excellent. I would
enjoy playing the Lego.
Yeah, I would think that they would want to speak with you. I mean, because this is obviously something very, very positive, and I would think that getting in touch with the right person would certainly be a good thing, and obviously it sounds like you are. Listen, Thibaut, we're at the bottom of the hour break, so we're going to play some commercial messages, and we'll come back with you, okay?
Okay.
You're listening to the Computer America Show. Nathan Evans, managing editor of Popzara magazine, is with me. We are talking to Thibaut Chomet, who is the co-founder of Seaway, a wearable GPS system for children. We'll be right back with them. We've got some messages, news, tips, polls, and review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Computer America Show.
Sometimes, disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes, disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Now, zombies eat brains, so most of the candidates are safe. Hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review. This time, a new drive from Seagate, an amazing 3.5-inch SATA drive, their new ST8000NM. They call it enterprise capacity, and these days, you really don't have to be all that enterprising to enjoy having 8 terabytes available. It's SATA 3, meaning 6 gig max port rate, which may be very useful for its 256 megabyte cache. The spindle speed is a respectable 7,200 RPM. Well, you could certainly run an extreme workstation on this single drive. We prefer to think of it as prime for storing assets like documents and media files. Somewhat less subject to the churn of an OS, but that's only because we want it to last forever. Bottom line, the new Seagate Enterprise Capacity 8 terabyte SATA drives fit our highest volumes with no loss of elbow room. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
33 minutes after the hour here on the Computer America Show. Nathan Evans, managing editor of Popzara, is co-hosting with me for the rest of the week. Ben, of course, is out at the Consumer Electronics Show. And we have the co-founder of Seaway, Thibaut Chomet, is here with us out at CES, and we are speaking with him. He himself is actually out at the Consumer Electronics Show. So Thibaut, we're talking about the GPS wearable. You need to unmute yourself. And There you go. Okay, and we're talking about the TV.
I am.
Yes. So, Nate, you said you had some questions for him?
Well, I had a question. I know you're at CES right now, and I know there's a lot of synergy going on there. Thibault, have you spoken to any of the other vendors or any other platform enthusiasts out there about the technology that's inside the Seaway wearable and how it can maybe be applied to existing technology or form partnerships that you wouldn't have expected? Because, and I ask this because as someone who's been to CES before, it's not just talking about robots and TVs and refrigerators. It's the synergy. It's the networking that happens, and that's really the magic, I think, of CES. So I was just wondering, from your perspective, what it's like to introduce this product.
Yeah, actually, we are fully on the booth, and there is a lot of people who are coming. But some people are technical guy, and of course, they've got many ideas to help us to increase the device, or to optimize the device, and have a new technology to implement in this device. So it's not only selling business or finding some financial partner, but of course we are discussing with other technical companies who want to help us to develop a better device day after day.
And because I know another big component of CES are the retail markets, and retail vendors, big box, Best Buy, Walmart, Target. I know they're on there to try to find products to put on their shelves, and I didn't know what type of interest they had, and I just want to comment on this. As Craig mentioned this at the opening of the show, is that I actually have editors who are on the floor, and tracking these people is impossible. Nobody ever answers their phone. I would love to be able to sort of put a leash, a digital leash. If you ever expand into adult children, let me know, and I would love to. Because how do you pronounce it in French? Enfant terrible. How do you? My French is terrible.
Enfant terrible.
Yeah.
Enfant terrible.
Thank you. That's the exact words. For those who don't listen, that word is perfect in French. Thank
Enfant terrible. Yes.
But if you see the Best Buy buyer or Walmart buyer, I can put him a device for sure. I definitely want to talk with him. I have many things to tell him for sure.
Well, best of luck trying to track them down. I know it's a big show.
Right. Let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, your company is making certain promises to parents and promises even to the kids. Can you tell us a little bit what those promises are?
Yeah, the promises or our ambition, if you prefer it. We don't want to create anxiety between parents and kids. We are here to develop autonomy. Okay, this is really the mainstream of the company. So the promise for the parents is that we will deliver the best device to let the kids enjoy their life in a safe way, and to be sure that the parents will be secure as well. I mean, to be sure that the kids are at the right place at the right time. This is really the promise. We don't build technology device. It will not be dangerous. It will not be complicated. It's really simple to use day after day. For example, I didn't know you got a picture of the device on the website.
Yes.
There is no button. There is no red button, like a warming button to alarm button. It's really, there is no on-off button as well. It's simple to use, designed by kids and used by kids, okay? We try many other devices tracking for kids with all this kind of red button, the alarm button. And it's really funny for kids, when you've got a red button, they want to push on it. So you are at work and you think that, okay, there is something terrible happened, but it's nothing. It's just playing with this device. Right. So the promise is we deliver the best device for the age of your kids, and it will enjoy it, but in a simple way.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're right, because I don't think kids really, we tell them don't talk to strangers or anything, but I don't think they really understand until they get a little older. And I know you're targeting from 3 to 10. I don't think there'll be any animosity to all the kids become you're tracking me, or where's my privacy. I don't think issues like that happens until they start getting to they become teenagers. Around 13 years old or 14, then that starts to happen. But I think from 3 to 10, which is your target market, I don't think there's going to be anything like that. I mean, have you experienced anything like that? I mean, the kids usually enjoy having it, right?
Yeah, they enjoy. They like to play it alone with the Lego or by receiving the message, or each other with other add-ons like the hide and seek game. So it's another way to play and to offer technology for kids. Exactly. But you're definitely right. After 10, when they go to high school, in France we say high school, they will have a cell phone, and with the cell phone, they don't need anymore this kind of device. And so it's really for 3 to 10 years old kids.
Right. I think you're correct. Once they get their own cell phone, then they are then you have ways of tracking them, and there are apps that they can do for that as well.
Exactly.
But I think the issue there is more than just the app. Then it's the child. You know. They start thinking, oh, you know, you're invading my privacy, and I want that, without thinking about all the other things that can go wrong. And unfortunately, things like that do. So, again, you have the basic wrist band, and then you have these, is it like, I guess, modules that plug in. You have like a watch module, which has a screen on it. You have the hide and seek game module, which you can plug into it. You can even personalize your Seaway, right? You can create your own. How does that work?
Yeah, you have some cash you can put on it, and you can change the stickers at leisure, depending on the interest of the kids, and they can change as well the cash with other kids. It's really a personal device, so the kids can do what they want by their own with this kind of add-ons.
Now you also have,
and we can imagine 3D, 3D printing add-ons.
Right. That's now you have schedule reminder icons. How do they work?
The track.
I'm sorry.
Will be, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. We got cut off. Go ahead. Talk these
okay.
Scheduling reminder icons.
Yeah, the idea is to be sure that the kid is at the right time at the right place. So in the apps we have an agenda, okay, and the parents will insert all the time schedule of the kids. Between 9 and 12 he has to be at school. At 2 p.m. he has to be at football. At 4 p.m. he has to be with I don't know, his friend in another place. So everything is in the agenda, and the kids will have the notification on the screen of the wearable of the Seaway when it will be time to move. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, if he has to go to football, he will have a football ball. We will appear on the screen, and he knows that it's time for him to go. For example, if you say to a kid, it's 4 p.m. Okay, he doesn't know what it means. What is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? It's not clear. But if you say it's time to lunch or it's time to eat something, okay, I know exactly what time it is in the day. Yeah. That's why we are talking in the same language of the kids, and we are working on cool icons.
Now, what about geofencing? I would think something like that. Let's say the child is at school, and for some reason they leave the school perimeter, everything, and they're off. Do you have any kind of geofencing? Because I know GPS supports geofencing. Have you thought of anything like that?
Yeah. In the apps, you can design a geofencing zone. And for example, you are in a new park in another city during holidays. Mm-hmm. You will create a geofencing zone around this park. And if your kids leave this zone, you will have a notification and the exact position of your kids. So we can have a lot of specific zone by geofencing or just by putting the right address in the apps.
Now, speaking of fencing, Thibault, I had another question when it comes to the marketing of the Seaway. Now, I understand it's a new product, and I understand that it's difficult to launch a new product, but I know that in some cases, where a big thing at CES this year is going to be virtual reality. And Craig and I talk about this on this show all the time, how sometimes the upfront cost can be very prohibitive on new technology. Now, one thing that every parent has in common is that they love their children. They don't want to lose. Well, most parents don't want to lose their children. It depends on how bad the child is. But they bring their children to carnivals. They bring their children to Walt Disney World. They send their children on airplanes. What would the possibility be of applying the Seaway as a service for these locations? For example, if you bring your child to the airport has a system where they can watch your child as it flies. But what if they were able to offer the Seaway as an additional security? Or if you were to go to a theme park like Walt Disney World and you could rent a Seaway just to be sure. So instead of requiring the parent up front to have it all the time, it could be at these locations of which they could offer it as a service to the parent for extra protection.
It's exactly the second part of our business. Today we are more in B2C business. We are selling, or we will sell device to parents directly through distributors. But there is a huge services business with B2B. And you're right, air company, train company in Europe, they can provide this kind of services. For example, your kids ask to fly to another country, but to join family, but you will not be in the plane. We can exactly discuss with the companies that will rent this device for a small price during, I don't know, it's $10 for the trip, and
Yes.
you will be able through the apps to be sure that it's at the right place and everything is okay when it's arrived. So it's the second part of the business. We are hiring people to work on it because it's B2B. It's another way to develop a company,
Sure.
but it's definitely a big part of the strategy. You talk about train company, airplane, but amusement park, summer camp, exactly. We have Club Med in Europe. When you go in holidays, your kids doesn't know where are they. They don't need, I would say, in their own country a device, but only for holidays. It's interesting for them to have one because their kids doesn't know where are they. They could be lost more easily.
Yes.
So, services, it's a huge part of the business.
One of the most famous movies in America is a comedy called Home Alone, where the parents go to the airport and they leave their kid. With Seaway, there wouldn't be a Home Alone. They would turn the car right around.
Exactly.
No, but
Exactly. Michael Culkin will be safe with that.
well, I think he turned out fine. No,
Yeah.
but except for the heroin. No, but what I was going to say, going back to pets for a second, which I asked you a while ago, in America, and I'm not sure how they do it in Europe, but we have these we have RFID tags that you can implant in your pet. Now, any talk of implanting a chip in your child will usually get you taken away. But I would say something, because America's wearable crazy, I would say something like this would be a much better solution than surgically implanting technology in your child.
I hope so, but I don't know what would be the future. 8 years ago, the Apple iPhone didn't exist. So maybe in 10 years, this kind of technology will be easily implemented in kids. We don't want to do promise, We don't know what will be the future. For sure, today, the best thing is a Seaway device, not to implement under the skin.
Now let me ask you about the Seaway. Now, if someone tries to take the device off the child to remove it, isn't there an alert on that to let them know?
Yeah, exactly. If the child or someone else removes the wearable, after 1 minute you will have a notification. Okay, because there is the word is accéléromètre in French.
Accelerometer.
So, accelerometer, exactly. So if the wearable doesn't move during 1 minute, you got a notification. Okay, so you don't know where is your kid because the wearable is removed, but you know that there is a problem. Okay, so again, it's a way to be more reactive because if the wearable is not with your kids, there is something wrong.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, is the unit waterproof? I mean, can they take it in the water? You mentioned the beach.
Yeah, it's water resistant, not waterproof. Your kids can wash hand with no problem, but it will not swim in the pool with the device.
Okay.
It will not work. He's in the pool.
And I want to follow up Craig's question real quick about the what you called acceleromic. I'm not sure if I'm reading the website, but maybe you can answer this question for listeners. In America, we have felons who have to wear geolocation devices, and the only way to take these devices off is that you have to input a code. You have to input a sequence of codes. You mentioned that the Seaway will send an alert if it doesn't move for 1 minute. Does the current device have this, or do you plan on featuring the ability, for example, that if the device wants to be taken off the wrist of the child, that they would have to input a security code so only trusted people could remove the device?
It was a point at the beginning of the story. We try many different technology, not a code, but only if you detach the wearable, you receive immediately. Today, it's too big to implement something in a wearable for kids. Okay, so in the future, if we can miniature, the technology, of course, we need to implement something, but again, we don't want to be in an anxiogene position. We want to give more responsibility and more autonomy, independency of the kids.
Sure.
So they are responsible for the device. So if they want to remove it, they can remove it. I think it's a trust relationship between parents and kids.
Tell us, we're almost running out of time here. We only have about 7 minutes left. Tell us about the bubble. What is the bubble?
As a bubble, it's actually the new product we launched at the CES. Because with the wearable, we are following the children outside the home. But when he's at home, how can we bring more services to the kids? So the bubble, it's a kind of alarm clock. So your kid will have it near his bed, in his room. And the bubble is connected by Wi-Fi to the apps, the same Seaway apps. Okay? So you will schedule, you will parameter the alarm clock. You can choose music. Okay? It's the streaming music. But because you have the Anjada, okay, if Tuesday your kid has to go to football, on the wearable you will have the notification you have to go to foot. But in the morning, the bubble will tell to your kids, don't forget your football clothes, okay? Don't forget to brush your teeth. So it's really another way to follow the kids during all the day journey, okay? So it's really a cool device, really designed, simple to use. Same thing, no button, only a sensitive button. And you can also leave message to your kids. Actually, you are at the CES, you are far from your kids, and you want to say just good night, I love you, see you tomorrow, or see you in 2 days. Through the apps, you will send a message to the bubble of your kids. The bubble will light in the room. He will push a button. He will listen your message. And we offer the possibility to the kids to give you a message back. By pushing the same button, he's recording a message and you will receive it on your own device. So it's another way to communicate and to bring more connectivity with your kids.
Wow, very, very cool. Very interesting. Talk a little bit about how much this is going to cost, Thibaut. What is the price of the Seaway and of the bubble?
The Seaway wearable is $135 with a monthly fee of $3. And this monthly fee allows you to travel in 110 countries because it's working at the same price in all these countries.
Mm-hmm.
So $135 for the wearable and $3 monthly fee. For the bubble, the selling price is $130 with no monthly fees because it's only Wi-Fi.
Okay. And they're designed to work with each other. So when you set it up, you set the bubble up to work with the Seaway and the app. Is that how it works?
Exactly. It's exactly the same platform. You have your kids in the Seaway. They've got a wearable or they got a bubble. You can buy the product separately. You don't need to have the both, of course. And everything is managed with the same platform.
So tell us about yourself. Now, a Seaway, are you looking for fundraising to continue this on? I'm just kind of curious, or do you have everything you need, or where do you stand with that?
Yeah. Actually, our ambition is to be the world leader in connectivity for kids, okay? Because it's a huge market, and there is some device, but there is no ecosystem, okay? No universe, and we want to be the reference for kids in connected universe. So actually, we are looking for money, of course, to go in mass production. We are looking for €1 to 2 million or $1 to 2 million bucks. So we have meeting with investors on the booth. But if there is other investor who are interested, please contact us. We're really happy. Our mass market will be, our priority is Europe and US at the same time. We don't want to create a French company. We want to be global from the very beginning.
Yes. You know, Thibault, whenever I go to CES, it seems like you can't go into the bathroom without being assaulted by venture capitalists, and they want to throw money at because they have so much money, it's burning a hole in their pocket. So hopefully, I hope that you and the company can run into some of these people, and that you could leave with bags of cash.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so.
Thibault, the other thing is, here in the United States, we have things set up like, I don't know if you've heard of like Amber Alerts, which is a system where if a child is missing, it was named after the child. Her name was Amber in memory of her. Have you ever thought of working with systems that are in place that kind of do that? So everybody who has a Seaway, an Amber Alert just went out, and
of course, Amber Alert is a reference all over the world, but specifically in the US, and we have to partner with this kind of company or organization. Of course, we don't want to be alone. We want to be in an open world to discuss with partners and to provide the best services to parents and to let children enjoy their kids' life. Okay, they don't have to be concerned by that. So yes, we want to partner with this kind of association.
Really? I wasn't aware of it, but on my iPhone in the settings, you can actually turn Amber Alerts on and off, and also emergency alerts too.
Yes.
And it came defaulted on. I didn't know when I first got it.
They're baked into the phone. They're baked into it.
Baked into it. I heard this sound. I went, "Oh my God, what is that?" And then and I realized that this is actually part of the smartphones that you can have turned on. And I would think it would be a natural thing for talking to the community, the Seaway community, okay. So go ahead, Nathan. You wanted to do that? Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Apologies, Thibault. I was talking to Craig on our super discreet instant messaging to see if it was appropriate. Again, because I'm from a different publication and I do editorial, and we cover certain companies. There's a company at CES, and I'm not sure if they're entirely the same, but they deal with geolocation, geo-tracking, technology for children. And I can't speak with certainty because we haven't met with them yet, but from their literature, it sounds like you and this company sort of cross a lot of the same paths.
Mm-hmm.
They're a new company. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They're called A-Champs. And
no, I've never heard.
Yes, and I don't even think they're mainstream yet. They're like yourself. They're at CES, and they're attempting to sort of get attention. And I don't want to give them too much publicity because that would be an endorsement of the product, and I haven't played with it yet. But they deal with children's location and what you showed with the Seaway, small gaming through Bluetooth and connectivity. So I'm just going to put this out there that if you're willing, if you have a moment, the company is called A-Champs. And your company reminds me a lot of them, and I'm sure you can look them up in the exhibitor directory, and maybe something can happen. This is CES. This is when magic happens in the least likely of places. So,
thank you for that. Yes, I will definitely have a look. Okay, there is no problem. Could you give me the name again?
Yes. A like Apple. Dash. Champs. CHAMPS. And for anybody listening, this won't make any sense, but their booth is located at the Sands venue.
Sands venue, okay.
74967.
74967. Thank you for the connection.
I hope it works.
And Thibault,
I would have a look. Thank you.
And Thibault, listen, we're pretty much out of time. Again, I want to thank you for telling our listeners about the Seaway and the Bubble. They are available now at an affordable price, and you can go to the website. Again, the website is Hello Seaway, the word hello, and then Seaway, C-W-A-Y, all one word, .com, helloseaway.com. And we have a link to the website at our website at computeramerica.com. So if you don't have a way of writing that down, just go to computeramerica.com. We have a link to the Seaway website as well. Thibault, best of luck to you. Please keep in touch with us, and we'd like to keep on top of what it is that you're doing. And thank you so much for being with us here on today's show.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Nathan. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And best of luck surviving the rest of the show, Thibault. Good
luck.
Yes,
exactly.
You too, Nathan. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're
All right,
welcome.
bye, Tebow. Okay, so there he goes. Again, it's Seaway is the name of the company. Again, Hello Seaway is the website, and you can check it out for yourself. Okay. Of course, Ben is out at the Consumer Electronics Show now, and he is getting interviews, and I hopefully will hear from him sometime during the day. Maybe he may call in, he may not, but I know he's out there with Josh Boykin. And have you heard from any of your people?
No, not today. Let's just say I'm not surprised. They're busy. It's connectivity is very as you could see with T-Bolt getting it. I'm surprised the connection worked that well. Like, it's amazing that we can at the world's biggest electronic show, we can still have connections that are at best like someone's in Iraq, like in a cave.
Yeah,
it's a little sad.
It is, although it's gotten better over the years. I mean, before,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the connections were awful, And,
Oh yes.
So anyway, all right, we've got another hour of the Computer America Show coming at you here. We've got some very interesting news stories that we're going to be discussing. We're going to take a momentary break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on the TuneIn Radio Network. We're going to be right back in just a moment. Please stay with us. This is Computer America.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman. Nate, are you there? Okay, Nathan Evans is with us someplace. I think he's back. Did we lose you, Nathan?
The connection glitched.
All right. Well, Nathan Evans is back with us, managing editor of PopZara magazine. We just got off the air with Thibaut Chaumet, who is the co-founder of Seaway, a GPS tracking system for children between the ages of 3 and 10. We talked about the bubble, and again, you can check them out at helloseaway.com. That was a very interesting interview. Hopefully, we found it interesting. Hopefully, you found it interesting as well.
Hopefully, we gave him some ideas.
Yeah, I think you did. I heard him write, and I saw him writing them down.
Well, it's speculative technology because, really quick, they talk about this. Everyone wants to build, a better hammer or, a bigger TV. But what GPS and iPhones and Android phones and, Bluetooth, what they do is you can find new ways of doing new things, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, and make new connections too. Certainly, part of all of that. I mean, that's what people go out to CES to do, to make new connections. And
yes, and I told Ben this before he went. I said, the mistake a lot of people make when they go to a show like CES is thinking that the stuff that they're going to see is the stuff they want to see. Mm-hmm. And in reality, it's the opposite. It's the stuff you don't know you want to see. It's the stuff that you never expected to like and fall in love with, like 3D printing and, wearable technology and things like that. It could be a really enlightening experience.
Yeah, no, it can be. And again, it's his first experience out at the Consumer Electronics Show, and I felt he was in good hands with the PopZara team.
They're good guys.
Yeah, they are. They're good guys. We still don't know if Herman has landed from the.
I think he has. I think the Herman has landed. And so he hasn't. I haven't heard any bad things, so I'm assuming he's made it. I checked the flight, But again, bad wireless technology and everything is. As long as he comes back alive, I'm okay with it.
Did you check his GPS locator?
I need to get. Yeah, he said T-Bolt said I could have one. So care of Nathan. So
there it is. Exactly.
It's fun. It's fun. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. All right, so we're heading into our news and technology segment. So I think unless you have anything else you want to mention, we'll get started on that. Anything else?
I'm not giving out any more freebies.
Okay.
So. No,
All
I'm just
right.
kidding. No, I'm ready to go when you are.
All right, here we go. Let's do some computer news. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Check them out at slimwareutilities.com. You'll be happy you did, and you'll thank us for it. And in this first story here, we have so many of them. I'm going to take this one from yesterday. We didn't get a chance to get to it. And this is an article from Recode. Apple, according to this item, set a new App Store record with sales during the holidays, $1.1 billion. Holy mackerel.
Yes. So let's. I'm going to have to go sell my Apple stock because clearly, whenever Apple does well, the stock goes down. Which, by the way, I joked about it yesterday, but it happened. Their stock hit below 100 for the first time since I think 2008.
Wow.
You know, this is such a strange phenomenon. You know, I'm wondering if the Wall Street is using the same satellite as NASA. No, it's very strange, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, but Apple always does well with these things. You know, the technology zealots will talk about, oh, we need a bigger iPhone or a better this or better that, but they ignore they ignore mainstream. Like we were talking with T-Bolt, you know, when I talked about gender disparities, it's everyone wants a woman in there to have a woman, but you know, you look at technology, Craig, and you notice every single personal assistant on your phone, every single one of them is named after a woman. Every single one. Siri, Cortana, Alexa, everything. You know, think about that for a second.
Why? Yeah, why is that?
Well, because maybe I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to get into Freudian this or that or feministic logic, you know, a little oxymoron there. But the fact is that subconsciously, when you do, there is some evidence to this, and I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but when you have the vast majority of people who are sexually repressed, you know, technology advocates and nerds, and the vast majority of them, are men, then they don't necessarily see a perspective. And it's not to say that there's something intrinsic in their DNA and chromosomal makeup, but the fact is they hang out with guys. They don't hang out with a lot of girls, and they don't see these problems. I mean, what is innovation if not a response to an issue? You know, what is a response? Somebody said we need this and we make this. But if you're a guy and you don't have children and you don't have this, then you're probably not going to make a response to it. You know, a lot of these dating apps are instigated by female marketers or female programmers or female technicians.
Now we're not talking about Ashley Madison, are we? Okay.
No, although again, that was another thing where the vast majority of people there were men. Yeah. But when it comes to things like Tinder or, you know, other dating apps like this, a lot of them are again instigated by women because they want a safer way to date. And when it going back to Apple for a second to bring it back home, is that the vast majority of these technology people, they ignore the fact that a lot of people an iPhone is really good technology that people have used instead of buying maybe a flip phone. So they discount the number of sales as non-innovative. Well, the fact that Apple can continuously sell, you know, tens if not hundreds of millions of phones to people who've never had them before is innovative in itself, in that the technology has become so commonplace that it's relatively easy to buy. Now, on the flip side of this, Craig, because this, I promise I'll make a point, is that when the dollar Android phones were out, people were talking about how great Android is. Oh, look at Android, it's doing this, it's this.
Yeah.
But you're getting to a point where where to get an Android phone, we were talking about this with the Windows, you know, the bare minimum on the Oculus Rift. Yeah, you can have an Android phone that costs us a penny. Good luck using it. You know, it's no good. There's a reason why it's free, but that's not the case with an iPhone. And I'm not trying to engender, there we go again, engender the argument by saying iPhone's better than Android phone. But the average iPhone is worlds better than a dollar Android phone. It's usable, it's reliable, it has a warranty. You're basically getting the exact same service of someone with a fancy, you know, gold-plated iPhone 6 Plus. You might not get all the whiz-bang features, but it's acceptable and it's a better experience. And that's an innovative product. So when Apple sells all these iPhone 6s or 6 Pluses, yeah, it's to be expected. But, and in the words of technology enthusiasts, it's boring, because we've seen this story. It's so boring. It's so boring. Apple just sells more, but they're not innovative. How can this be? Because it introduces a cognitive dissonance. Oh my goodness, this iPhone doesn't have the one feature that every other phone has, and it's not innovative. How can people buy it? Because normal human beings don't care about that crap. They care about a phone that works, that has a warranty, that actually is good for them. And Apple's been able to address that by recycling old iPhones into free iPhones with plans from T-Mobile and Verizon and all this. And so when you see things about stories about, for example, iPad, oh, the iPad market is shrinking. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's stabilizing, because people don't replace iPads every single year like they do with phones, although Apple would like you to do this. So if you have a really good iPad from 2013, then you don't need to buy one every year. It's perfectly good. Same with computers. That's why the biggest growth market for Apple has been the Macintosh. The Macintosh is the best-selling computer in this country. A lot of people don't know this. It's the best-selling computer. It's just that cumulatively, all the other machines sell more. Microsoft only makes they only make the Surface. They make the Surface Book. They don't make a lot of computers. So, but every single Macintosh you have, legal copy of Macintosh, is from Apple. I don't count the Hackintoshes. So, so when you look at sales, of hardware, the Macintoshes keep selling better every single year. And I don't necessarily think that's because more people want Apple, although there is some synergy between that. People buy an iPhone, they buy an iPad. Sure, why not buy a Macintosh? It happens. But with the Windows, you've seen the failure of Windows 8, the relative sluggishness of Windows 10, failed to attract a lot of groups to back to the OEMs on the PC market, like Dell and HP. It just hasn't translated into sales for them. It's not the exciting thing that it used to be. And as more and more people move to Android and iOS phones, it doesn't leave a lot of market share for the Windows phones or the BlackBerries or whatever's. And so it also doesn't leave a lot of market share for Windows machines, because if you're not synergizing between your iPhone and Macintosh, you're not, I'm going to go buy a Windows PC, and it's not quite the same experience. And I think you see this very slowly happening, is that you're starting to see an emergence of a dominant platform between mobile and thing. And Apple's sales certainly reflect this. And specifically when it comes to the App Store, and this is the biggest point of the story, is the App Store always breaks records. In fact, how many times have I said this on this show, that I think that the App Store is the most innovative thing that Apple has ever done, ever, of anything. It goes back to iTunes. Everyone was poo-pooing digital music sales. It was mocked. Why would you buy? Why would you buy music when you can steal it? Not Napster. Well, because you don't want a virus. And Apple was very restrictive, and they created the world's biggest music market, and they transformed that into the App Store. And I would say we have Instagrams, we have Yelps, we have we have Seaways, we have all these companies that have taken advantage of the world's biggest digital store. And there's the argument of Apple is a closed market, Android and Microsoft are open markets. I know all your heads are going to explode out there, and all you open source people are going to explode, and you're not going to believe me. But sorry to clue you in, people. But the general population prefers the closed market. They always have. They always will. The open market is the Wild West. You're going to go onto your store with open market, and good luck downloading those Chinese pornography apps, or those viruses, or those data collection things. You want someone at the gatekeeper telling you what to buy and what not to buy, and they want to guarantee your safety. And true, that may be repressive a little bit. However, when the market becomes so outrageously, undeniably big, then you will see the stuff you want. And the trade-in may be, yes, you won't get bleeding edge apps, you won't get the latest feature, but you will get the latest feature at some point, and it will work, and it won't brick your phone. And that's what Apple's being rewarded with. It's the world's biggest market. And it's so interesting, Craig, that a phone that has 12% supposedly of the market share commands 90% of the digital market share. And I think a better journalist than myself could really make a story in exploring that disparity.
Wow. Well, again, I'm referring to this Recode article by Andrew Webster. And it said, $1.1 billion on apps, as well as in-app purchases. They counted those as well. and it's, I guess, for all the reasons that you said. I mean, you're buying into a closed system, but a lot of people really enjoy the security of that closed system. You know what you get; it's going to work. It's being monitored. I mean, I remember in the early days, when the iPhone just came out, and I remember people were downloading an app. It was supposedly a flashlight app, but actually, it was not a flashlight app. It was that had a back door that it would go in. I mean, and it was written by some kid, some 13 or 14-year-old who went on to programming fame, from what I understand. But now to get your app published on iTunes, I mean, you have to go through a set of rigorous.
Yes, you have to have a Macintosh, so you can download the Xcode software. And we talked about this before. This is very important, Craig. This is the most important thing that I think that's ever happened to mainstream electronics. I really do. Is that a couple of years ago, before the App Store, which I think debuted in 2008, the original iPhone didn't have it. Eventually it came. Mm-hmm. But, you had people who wanted to program games, and to have that, there's a very famous story about a kid who was, let's be honest, he was a little crazy, but he created this game called Bob's Game. And he wanted to publish this game on a Nintendo platform, and Nintendo's requirements to publish a game on Nintendo were so strict. You had to have an LLC, you had to have a real address, you had to have insurance, you had to have all this stuff, which is prohibitive to the vast majority of people out there. And with Apple, all you need to have a Macintosh to program, and that's it. Your app needs to work. Apple will do the rest for you. And that has opened up just unparalleled innovation. And true, most of it's garbage. Most of it's Flappy Birds clones. But for the most part, though, people seem to like the garbage too. And my philosophy when it comes to a console, and certainly I would argue that the App Store is in fact a console, in much the way the Google Play Store is becoming a console, and that it's a finite market, is that it's not the App Store with the most good stuff. It's the App Store with the most bad stuff, because you may not want that crappy Flappy Bird app, but millions of people did. You may not want the Kim Kardashian Kimoji app. Apparently a lot of people do. That Kimoji, Kim Kardashian has made so much money on the App Store, so much money. And the vast majority of those buyers, I'm just going to make an assumption here, are women and possibly gay men. These are markets that have not been marketed to in the traditional app stores. Traditional video games have not marketed exclusively towards women and gay men, right. But apps have. They really have, because they're people too. And they're just people with different interests than the people who want to destroy galaxies and, crush orcs, and do this. Clash of Clans, cool. But that Clash of Clans clone, I forget what it's called, the one with Kate Upton with her big boobies, that thing made a lot of money. And the commercials didn't even show the game. We know why you're downloading it. We know. But so what? It makes a lot of money. People are making money off this. Is a new gold rush. But like all gold rushes, there's a false bottom. And at some point, it will plateau. And to their respect, Google has been making enormous strides for this. Amazon has been making enormous strides. And we talked about yesterday about Windows 10 and the lack of apps. Microsoft has not been making strides. And what's so interesting is that the average 10-year-old could go to Microsoft and correct the problem right now. So I'm not going to give them any free advice. But guys, if you can't innovate, at least copy. At least it'll keep you alive. So congratulations to Apple. I don't get any of this money. So, and I want to be clear, just for all you people who think I'm a gender bigot, the highest paid person at Apple is still their female executive, the one they hired for the fashion department, whereas poor Tim Cook only makes a paltry $10 million a year.
Paltry, yeah, exactly.
With lots and lots and lots and lots of stock. So,
all right. So there you go. We're going to continue on doing these stories. This again, we're doing computer technology news, brought to you by Slowware Utilities. This next item is from Gizmodo, and it's by Brian Lefkin. He says, IBM's Watson, will morph Polite Pepper into an ultra-intelligent evil genius. Now,
won't it?
Yeah. Well, now for Watson, of course, was IBM's program, artificial intelligence program, to be an assistant
And game show contestant.
and game show contestant. Right, exactly. Now we're not talking about Big Blue, because Big Blue was pretty much chess.
Yes.
Exactly. But evidently, IBM is in the news. They've just announced a talking emotion reading robot with the interface will interface with Watson, which will turn it into a smiling, evil robotic mastermind,
It looks evil.
adorable leader of the human enslaving resistance. This is all out at CES.
Oh, goodness.
IBM announced that Pepper, which has been commercially available since last year, will now be powered by Watson, the question-answering computer that's become globally synonymous with incredible artificial intelligence.
And it's apparently Watson writes cookbooks. I'm not joking. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Watson is a fascinating piece of tech, and of course it'll become Skynet, and of course it'll look like a cute, C-3PO robot. Of course. I mean, what did they think it would look like? Terminator? Of course not. It needs to be cute. It needs to draw you in. Like any good fishing lure, it needs to be attractive.
Yeah, exactly. So, are you giving overtones of that we're in danger with Pepper? I mean,
Are you kidding?
No, you tell me.
No. I mean, are you kidding? Of course I am.
Yeah.
Have anybody just looks up Watson Pepper and look at this? It's adorable. I want one. I know it'll kill me, but I still want it. It's because a Japanese scientist years ago, or I forget his profession, he coined the term uncanny valley. And for anybody who doesn't understand the term, it's where the more and more that humanity tries to recreate reality, the more our brains are not fooled into thinking it's real. So that's why we have androids that in a photo look real, but as soon as they start moving, we're like, it doesn't work. But that's why the droid, for anybody who hasn't seen The Force Awakens, they have half the characters are metal bots that look like trash cans and Macintoshes. They don't talk, but you understand everything they're saying. Beep, beep, boopity, boop, bop, bop. And everybody knows what they're saying because the part that they get right overwhelms the vast things that they don't get right. You remember in the original Star Wars movies, Craig,
yeah.
Luke Skywalker would talk with R2-D2 and there were no subtitles. They would just talk back and forth, and because you could hear it in Ben, and the sound design guy is Ben Burt.
Ben Burt, yeah, really.
Yeah, who would of course do all the sounds in WALL-E from Pixar, right?
Yeah.
WALL-E's another one. Because we could identify emotions inside the way the sound resonates, and so that applies to physical characteristics. Yeah, this thing looks like a render on a Macintosh, but if it acts appropriately, children would trust this thing more than they would trust a realistic human robot that would terrorize their dreams. And so, there was a Japanese movie that came out, speaking of Japanese, I think it came out last year. It was called Apocalypse. And of course it was a, post-apocalyptic movie. And it was famous because it's the first movie that actually stars an android, a female android. And watch the trailer for it. Look up Apocalypse movie Japanese. Doesn't move anything realistic. It looks like Mannequin on the Move.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think a lot of people have had it wrong, the same way they had the Oculus price rifting wrong. They thought that androids would become, pleasure bots, and, even Isaac Asimov predicted this, and, Aldous Huxley predicted this. They're all wrong. Robots are not going to be sexy and digital prostitutes. They're going to be cute, cuddly things like Teddy Ruxpin that you put in your children's room and they read them bedtime stories. And that's why I look at this. This Pepper is the face of evil. It's the face of all things unholy. But I want one because it's adorable.
Well, here, according to this article, it says IBM says Watson can help Pepper make sense of the hidden meaning and data that traditional computers cannot comprehend, including social media, video, images, and text. And this kind of artificial intelligence represents a new era in computing where systems understand the world in a way that humans do through senses, learning, and experience.
That's just terrible. That's hubristic, isn't it? Like a computer can make sense of social media.
Well,
I can't make sense of social media. I want this cute toaster oven to make sense of it. Good luck.
Well, according to the article, it says Pepper already uses a cloud-based AI that can analyze human gestures, facial expressions, and vocal tones. The robot was built to be a companion to humans in cubicle farms or shops, and with this Watson upgrade, Pepper can continually learn and store new information. That cognitive computing will make Pepper even better and more natural at interacting with people.
What's that?
I'm saying that's what you want is you want a companion. You want someone you can interact with and that's going to know your facial expressions and what you're talking about. I mean, that's kind of part of the interesting here.
Sort of, but it's not a new idea. There was a Twilight Zone episode back in the 60s, first season, I think, where a man was found guilty of murder and they marooned him off on an asteroid and he was all alone.
Oh, yes, Corey. It was Corey.
Remember that?
Yeah, the pilot was something about Corey, and it turned out that it was a female. Yeah,
yeah. They gave him an android, and he fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's a really good episode, really.
It was very good.
Very good episode. I don't want to spoil it for you, but eventually he knew it was a machine. He knew it was fake. But there was also an experiment, I think, back in the early aughts or late 90s, and I want people to look this up, where they created a digital. I think forgive me if I get the author wrong, but it was a Philip K. Dick or something, or some scientist or some science fiction writer, where they created an android that could respond to, it would respond to your questions in real time, primitive Siri, so to speak. And it looked like the author, it sounded like the author because they looped his voice. And it's a fascinating thing to look at. And I believe the head of this android still exists, but it was unconvincing because they tried too hard to be realistic. And, again, we talked about this on the show yesterday, where they have billboards that can scan you and scan your gender, your race, your height, your mannerisms, and project an advertisement tailored to you. And that's really, an extension of what Amazon and Google does, where, they collect your cookies and they say, oh, this guy went here, he went here, he went here. And then they serve up advertisements based on your usage history. And and again, on its face, that sounds great for advertisers, Craig. That sounds fantastic. We can tailor everything.
Mm-hmm.
But at a certain point, you create not an intellectual echo chamber, you create a social echo chamber. And going back to social media, I've been a victim of this too. And in some cases, I've been a perpetrator. That if I say one thing on my social media that somebody doesn't like, and if somebody doesn't have, the temperament of an adult, to withstand criticism,
right?
Not necessarily directed at them, but just, directed at an idea, they'll ban you or silence you or call you a name. My Facebook feed is filled with people that I don't agree with politically or ideologically, but I consider them friends or associates because, that's the way the world works.
Yeah.
These people have no problem, I'm not saying names, have no problem posting lots and lots of political agitprop, right? Just keep pushing this stuff. They post it, and they post it. But if I dare respond to one thing, then I get banned. It's because the conversation becomes one way. Because they collect friends and they collect social activists that won't say anything bad about it. Oh, I like what you're shooting. I like it. So you have these big blobs of like-minded people who think exactly the same. They're little utopias, and they become impenetrable to the outside. And again, there are people in the technology world that think that's great. I think it's the scariest thing I've ever seen because that's not the way society grows. That creates that creates sort of a DNA utopia where everybody's the same and everybody's the same and everybody's the same. And that's not how evolution works. Evolution doesn't work by like-minded things. That creates, what they call an allele confusion, where there's too many of the same genes and therefore they breed defects. You need different ideas, different genes, different this. And this cute little robot is adorable, and I definitely want one. But I'll buy it and I'll put it in my closet where it can't hurt anybody.
Okay. So it says that Pepper sells for about $1,500 or so. Am I reading that right?
Is that it? Have they announced the price yet? I know it's they're sort of, let me see. Each robot costs $1,000. They're not available in the U.S. quite yet. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. They haven't been mass market yet. I do know that a few, again, why don't we just say this? Whenever we talk about androids, we'll just say Japan. I know there was a Japanese airport that started employing these robots to talk to customers. Now, again, let me just say this. You know, when you have Google self-driving cars and you have robots that do this,
For advertising?
they're going to take away jobs from people. I don't want to be a naysayer, but you know, what do they think's going to happen? You have a self-driving car, that means that's not a person. You have a self-checkout aisle, that means there's one less person. You know, you have all these things that run by robots, that's one less person. And if you think I'm crazy, look at the manufacturing plants from the 50s. You know, a Foxconn warehouse can build iPhones faster than 1,000 people can. They'll have people there with their medical masks, so they don't breathe germs into your iPhone and give you some sort of disease. But generally speaking, that means less people are working. And when machines become less expensive than people, then we're going to see less people. And I know not to insult the people at McDonald's and KFC, but you're not a food artisan. You're not a chef. You push a button. Do you ever see? Remember we talked about this before, Craig, on Idiocracy. Mm-hmm. They have, they've reduced food production to, I'm going to press a button of the Big Mac. Oh, I got a Big Mac. You're not a chef. You're George Jetson pushing that button. That's your job. You should be lucky you have that job. There was a Simpsons episode where they made fun of that, where they had that little bird that drinks the water.
Right. Yeah. No, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. You are a button pusher. So
Yeah.
be careful.
All right. Oh, by the way, we're at our break, bottom of the hour break, so we're going to continue on. Nathan Evans, managing editor of the Computer America Show, is on the air with me for the remainder of the week. Excuse me. Are we finished with IBM's Watson? Well, we'll see. We'll come right back and we'll continue on with more computer and technology news. Please stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Journalism. I need a big raise to qualify as a pauper. Hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Stiga sensor score for table tennis. Of late, an automatic system from Stiga called Sensor Score can keep score of table tennis games by using two small sensors mounted to the underside of each half of the table, plus a third sensor in the net. They identify these as vibration sensors, so they may be piezo devices or they may be purpose-built microphones. The product provides a custom net with a scoreboard at one end offering both colored lighted scores and spoken feedback. We're impressed, of course, that they're able to deploy sensor technology in so cunning a way. Bottom line, Stiga Sensor Score for table tennis represents a net gain for clever technology and fair play. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 33 minutes after the hour, and thanks so much for listening to us. Of course, everything is out. It's a Consumer Electronics Show. Ben's out there, and so Ben normally does phone screening here, but unfortunately, everybody's at the Consumer Electronics Show, so things are getting a little hectic. I forgot to mention that to you, Nathan, who is my co-host for the week. He is the managing editor of Popzera. You just sent me a story here. Is this a tie-in to the Watson story? Apple just bought a startup that reads people's emotions?
No, this is Apple in 2015. This is whatever anyone else is doing, we'll do it too. So, that's why Apple needs to have what everyone else is having. And they've been Apple's been experimenting with this for some time, actually, about buying companies that deal with emotions and reading people's features and everything. The idea is that some version of Apple technology, specifically the iPhone or the cameras, will eventually create a more realistic Siri and more realistic experience. And I forget the name of the company because I wasn't prepared because I'm an idiot. But I think they bought the company that's doing some of the animation on some films that's coming out. I don't want to say which film because I would probably get it wrong. But they've been buying a lot of this stuff. So I can only assume that a lot of people I think Apple's going to get into the car business or the TV business. No, Apple's going to get into the Android business, ironically. We're going to have the A-Bot, and which is kind of funny because there was a really terrible, horrible movie. It's on Netflix. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And everybody in the movie's famous. Everybody. I'm not going to go into it too much. But I think it was called Movie 77 or some variant of that.
Uh-huh.
And it's the one where, let's just say it's the one where Hugh Jackman has testicles on his face. And
oh my God.
Yeah, and Chris Pratt plays a guy when he's chubby. This is pre-Guardians of the Galaxy. When Chris Pratt plays a guy who dates a woman who wants, her to do nasty things to him.
All right.
And but there's a funny scene in the movie where they're making a new iPod, in a crass, mocking of Apple, and the new iPod looks like a woman, and it turns out the interface is in her, woo-hoo.
Okay.
And bad things result because it's people are attempting to do things with the robot they shouldn't and getting their genitalia destroyed. So to me, it's not unheard of to think that Apple may get into some robotic business at some point too. It sort of makes sense. There's a race for three things. There's a race for artificial intelligence. There's a race for cars, and there's a race for robots. So we'll see what happens. The
last movie I saw on someone was called She, or was it Her? She, I think it was.
The one with Al Pacino.
No.
No. I'm sorry, but that's the same subject with the artificial actress.
Right. Exactly.
You're talking about the one with Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, that was a good movie. That's one of the best future movies I've ever seen.
It was not bad. Exactly.
Oh, that's Apple calling.
No.
They heard what you said.
Exactly.
Violated the terms of their contract. No, that was the one where she played like a glorified Siri that became cognizant.
Yes.
Evolved into a different thing.
He sort of had it looked like an iPod or a smartphone of some sort where it all kind of started. It was supposed to be a little bit more futuristic, and she becomes cognizant, sentient, and basically they have this sort of relationship, and then she ascends to a higher level than
which is interesting because she was also in another movie that year called Lucy.
Yes,
where she had very similar trajectory, where she evolved into a higher function. But Her was a good movie. I'm a big fan of the director's films.
That was a Luc Besson film, and which Luc Besson makes some really good.
Lucy, yes.
Yeah.
And the other one was it not Michael Gambon? Who was it? He does the arty farty movies, but it was a good movie. I liked them both, and I like Scarlett and she has a wonderfully sexy, sultry voice that sounds a lot better than Siri's, robotic shambles.
Exactly.
No, so but that's why I sent you that story because there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Artificial intelligence.
And I mean, where does it all end? I mean, if it ever is going to all end, I mean, eventually they're going to get to the point where the artificial intelligence is essential. Did you ever see the movie AI? It was a Steven Spielberg.
Oh yes, in the theater.
Yeah.
Twice.
It was no spoilers, but it had a very sad ending. I thought it was very sad, but it did address some very interesting issues with artificial intelligence.
And it also had Robin Williams as a holographic AI.
Yeah, and that had the Haley Joel Osment as the
Before-
star.
Yes, before
I
he
saw-
became before he ballooned up.
Yeah, I saw a recent movie with him, and I went, "Oh my God, that's Haley Joel." And I've always thought the little kid, and he's like he's in his 20s, and he's got a beard, you know.
He's chubby, and the thing is, his body got fat, but his face remained exactly the same.
Yeah, so I recognize him.
He's been in a bunch of stuff. Look, let me give Haley Joel Osment credit. He's been in a bunch of movies. He's been in TV shows. He's attempting a comeback, and good for him. He's a talented guy, and I would hate to have him. I hate to have him get stuck for all these kiddie roles in the '90s, where he was very famous.
Yeah. Well, he did a terrific job. I mean, he was I See Dead People with Bruce Willis. What was it?
He was Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. I mean, was he in Forrest Gump? I don't remember him. When was he in Forrest Gump?
He played Forrest Gump's son at the end, who gets on the bus. Remember when Jenny?
You're right. You're right. Yes, that's true.
And Steven Spielberg, who was supposed to direct the first Harry Potter film, eventually ceded it to his protege, Chris Columbus, wanted Haley Joel Osment to play Harry Potter. So the beard is not always right. So, no, but he's a great actor. I've seen him in a few Netflix movies, too, where he's trying to attempt, like he's in the movie Tusk from Kevin Smith, which is a terrible movie, by the way. And he was in a movie called Sex Education, where he played a teacher for sex ed that's never had sex. So, hilarity ensues. No, and he was in one of the most awful TV shows that I've ever seen.
Which
awful,
one?
like truly awful. Like if I had to throw a dart on the board, a lot of TV shows are awful, but they're harmless. No, this show was horrible.
It was just a pilot?
There's 2 seasons.
Wow.
It stars John Goodman. It's the show on Amazon originally called Alpha Dogs.
John Goodman was terrific.
Yeah. He's the only good thing about this show. No, it's called Alpha Dogs, and it's actually written by Gary Trudeau, the guy who does the Doonesbury comic.
Yeah.
It is the most politically tone-deaf, stupid, unfunny, racist, misogynistic, horrible, unfunny show.
But how do you really feel about it?
Well, that's the thing. You could be racist and misogynistic, and a lot of shows are, and they could do it funny. That's the point. This show is tone-deaf, and Haley Joel Osment plays a reporter on it. And, it's worth watching. Just like I would watch the show drunk and get some value out of it. But, Amazon's done a lot better since, shows like Transparent and The Man in the High Castle. They have a long way to go before they reach Netflix, but they're trying. So I'll give them kudos.
There you go. Well, so basically we're finished with the Watson story. Basically, look out for him. He could be the Antichrist.
He or she.
He or she could be the Antichrist, according to Nathan Evans. So,
well, I mean, if the Antichrist isn't going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger with Terminator, it's going to look like Teddy Ruxpin. It's going to be cute, and it's going to be adorable.
Yeah, and incredibly evil.
Yeah. Remember, Damien was a child.
Yes, I remember that. The Omen. Okay. All right. This next story from CNET: Messenger to the masses. Facebook app hits 800 million users. Interesting,
huh?
Yeah, the fastest growing app in the U.S. won't be resting on its laurels. Facebook's plans for the messaging app include creating ways for companies and consumers to interact.
Yeah, this is an interesting story because it should be higher than 800 million. What happened is there's been this trend on apps lately. Google does it, Apple does it, Facebook does it, where they take a perfectly acceptable service in your app and they split it up. So instead of having, like, if you, for example, used to have Google Drive on your iPhone or Android phone, and you can still have Drive, but in order to use the damn thing, you have to go download all the individual apps. You have to download Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google this, Google that. Same with Microsoft Office. You have to download Word and Excel separately. You have to download, Pages, Numbers, and all this. And with Google products and Facebook products, that's advertising. And so what Facebook did is they split the Messenger off from Facebook and to make its own app. So now you have to have 2 apps to use Facebook. And I'm one of those 800 million, begrudgingly, because people try to message me on Facebook. And I tell them I don't use it, but they don't listen. So they keep messaging me. And so every time I boot up Facebook to, see who's trolling me or see what nonsense is on there, because it's never interesting. I see, oh, Nathan, you have 5 notifications. Oh, let me look at them. Hey, and I get a cute picture of a squirrel or whatever. It says, you need to download the Messenger. I'm like, oh, please. So eventually I broke down and I bought it. And now, I downloaded it. And now I have 2 Facebook apps on my phone. And now people can harass me faster than ever. So it's, I'm surprised it's not higher than 800 million. So
Hmm.
I'm surprised it's not a billion.
Well, there's this saying, the social net. Facebook said today that its mobile messaging app crossed that mark near your year's end, and so basically, what's the attraction? I guess is what my first.
Necessity. Because I had this friend. I have this friend who's Chinese and he doesn't speak English. So whenever I talk to him, I have to use my pidgin Chinese, which is modest, but we can communicate through apps and everything. And he's got a folder on his phone that has about 40 different chatting softwares.
Mhm.
Stuff in China, it's big. They got Weibo, they got Line, they have all these things. And in America, we have a dozen or so that are really popular. We have WhatsApp, we have Snapchat, we have all this stuff. And every single app requires an entirely different app, entirely different thing. Some
Right.
of them are cross-platform.
Some
We got,
good. Okay.
yeah, some, it's the way it is. And when you have an Android phone, doesn't matter, or iPhone doesn't matter, BlackBerry or whatever, I don't know why, Windows 10 phone or even the platform, you can have the ubiquity that's not available on iMessage. And Google has been trying really hard to sort of become the iMessage of all phones, and they've done a decent job. They with their Google Hangouts, which we're using right now, but it's an inferior product in very small, important ways. And you think to yourself, well, if you can get this software and make it ubiquitous on all the platforms, and that's it, that's the be all end all. But isn't this interesting? Is that you can get one, but we don't. Like as we're talking, Craig and I are using Google Hangouts. We're also using AIM, which Craig also rides a dinosaur to work. Like Fred Flintstone, but the fact is people still use it, and I got to admit a little that I was wrong. I thought, like a fool, I thought, who uses AI? Who uses AIM? A lot of people still use it.
Yeah.
A lot of people use all these apps, and I guess it's just to be different. It's just because one app may do one thing better than the other, or may have one killer feature.
That's one of the reasons I like AIM is because they've updated the software so many times now. Last time I was using AIM, I used AIM, and one day it wouldn't work anymore, and I was saying, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I checked for upgrades. Evidently, they upgraded it so much that it couldn't check for the upgrade to it, so I had to download it. And then it now all works, and it's a whole new interface and everything, but it's worked.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. We're using Google Hangouts, so specifically, we have a one-stop shop. We should be able to chat, and I guess we could.
Yeah.
But if I were just to communicate you on Google Hangouts now, whether it be Mac, whether it be Windows, whether it be iPhone, Android, I can, I talk to some of the guys with Google. I talk to some of them with Skype, whatever. But we're on Google Hangouts. We should be able to chat. But once Google becomes a video chat service, then the chatting feature becomes so unintuitive and ugly and hard to use.
Yeah, it is.
See, why is that? Because that's the lack of cooperation between their development teams. The chat feature of Google Hangouts goes to crap when you start video conferencing. It's not the same. It's different. It's inferior.
Yeah.
So we have to get a different app to do that one thing that this crappy app can't do anymore. But if you and I were to disconnect, then Google Hangouts would be a perfectly fine chatting app. Oh, look at that. It's back to being useful.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem. And that's really the problem, Craig, is that it's the lack of cooperation with a lot of these technology companies. And we talked about this yesterday with Internet Explorer dying. And when Internet Explorer 6 came out and it basically thumped the competition, Microsoft said, hey, we're done. Click, turn it off, throw away the key, disassemble the team. And that created a vacuum of which other companies that were hungry, like Mozilla, could come in and innovate. So, a couple months ago, we talked about BlackBerry, and I don't know, did you ever have the BlackBerry guy on the show?
No, we reached out to them, but I believe they, and I think Chris is still in the process of trying to get them on the program.
Fascinating guy if you can talk to him. He's Canadian, so he comes from a very different perspective. BlackBerry was well known for the most popular feature of BlackBerry. The thing that still keeps that thing alive in Middle East and Europe is its BBM, its BlackBerry Messenger. Without it, they'd be dead a long time ago. That's the one thing. And I think that BlackBerry should be applauded for creating what has become a phenomenon with these instant messaging things, reliable instant messaging, of which Apple and Google have failed to really connect with people. And it's interesting that BlackBerry, before their whatever they became, they had the opportunity to buy, I think it's WhatsApp, and it didn't happen.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, what don't you like about the Apple Messenger? I mean, because
Oh, I love it. No, I love it. I mean, if you have an Apple product, it's great.
yeah. I mean,
If you have an Apple product.
not only can I send a message, I see that the message has been delivered, and then I see the message has been read.
Oh, no, I live with IM. It's my favorite chatting. But the problem is that it's useless if someone doesn't have an Apple product.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's it. And that's a killer. That's a killer for some people.
Yeah, you don't know whether it's been delivered or it's been read, and even when they're typing a response to you, you see that they're about in the process of typing a response.
My editors hate me because most of my editors have PCs, but they have iPhones.
Yeah.
So they go, and it takes them 10 minutes to go, and I just respond on my keyboard on my Mac. They're like, how'd you type so fast? I have a Mac, And it's like, oh, they're struggling to type a message, and I send a paragraph. Oh, they hate me. But the ubiquity's not there. So what I do is on my Macintosh and on my Windows PC or wherever, and on my iPhone, I install Google Hangouts. And for the people that I need to send a message to, I send them on Hangouts. But Hangouts is tied to Chrome. It used to be called Google Talk, but they've smushed it into a web app and they've destroyed its usefulness. But
but you can still use I use Hangouts on Firefox. Works fine.
Oh, you can. Oh no, I mean, but I have Chrome browser, so it just it's built into Chrome.
Oh, okay, all right.
So for anybody listening wants to mimic yours truly, there's a really really cool app from Google called Chrome Launcher, and all it does is it gives your Windows PC or your Macintosh the ability to have a little start button like on your Android, and so I click on it, and what happens is I have all my Google stuff there. So for example, if I click on it now, I have Chrome, Google Drive, the web store, the calendar, the Gmail, the Netflix.
I have to get that.
It's cool. Yeah. Because Google's pretty smart, and this is something that I think you should pay attention to, is that Chrome is effectively an operating system by itself.
Yeah.
It has its own apps, its own ecosystem, its own things, its own accounts. It's pretty cool. It's become a memory hog, but so what? Technology, buy more RAM.
Yeah.
So, but they use it for Chrome OS. But for example, if I'm on a Windows machine, there's no really easy way for me to use my favorite program, which is TweetDeck, which I can manage multiple accounts. Mm-hmm. There's no Windows app for it. There's an app on the Macintosh, but there's no app on Windows. So what do? I could go to the web, or I could just install the app on Chrome browser. So on my Windows machine, I can use Chrome to open up the TweetDeck app, and boom, I have TweetDeck. Can't do that on Windows without it. It's a pretty sad state of affairs for Microsoft. Yeah. But Hangouts is there. So I open up Hangouts. I open up Hangouts on Mac. I open it up on Windows, open up my iPod, and I have communications. But it's not enough. So I got to get 2 or 3 other apps. Then it becomes annoying. Yeah. And and everybody's got a different app. Do you remember the days with on the Mac that you can only run one app at a time? Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course they came up with something called MultiFinder, and that was, oh my gosh, MultiFinder. It would allow you to run 2 things, but they didn't run in the background. In other words, it ran and then you ran to the other one, but you couldn't run a process in the backend with one. It was called MultiFinder.
I do want to give Microsoft a little credit. With Windows 10 is such a substantial upgrade over Windows 8 in the app market. The apps run better. You can now run them in small screen. Mm-hmm. You can run this. The only problem is there's none of them. There's no apps, and to be fair, there's not exactly tons of apps on the Mac store either. So I'm not, but when I do run them, like when I run my TweetDeck or my Twitter or whatever, it's much nicer having an app than going to a web, because we talked about this before, Craig. You use Outlook for your email.
Yes.
And I use Thunderbird because I'm cheap. but I run Thunderbird on all my machines, and you run Outlook, and having a client software that actually, GASP uses your system is much better than any web app. And so it's much more fluid. You have more options. You can save things. You have a nice machine. You have a nice Macintosh. It's powerful. It could do a lot more than a browser. And so, that's what I think these chatting apps are too.
Now, what was the name of the? Because I want to give that a try for the Chrome for running on the Mac with the Chrome app.
It's called Chrome App Launcher, and it'll install a little icon in either your taskbar on Windows. It'll install a little bar on your dock, and you can go and play with it and make it your own. It's exactly like the App Launcher on Android. It's the exact same thing. And if you want to see what it looks like, you could just go to Chrome OS, and it'll show, because every Chrome OS has the App Launcher, their version of the Start button.
Okay.
It's very useful. Like if you're a writer or you have a writing job and you need all this stuff, it's extremely useful to have access to this stuff without having to log into everything.
What if you're a talk show host?
then it's still useful. No. I mean, that's how I talk to you, because I have access to Google Hangouts, I have access to YouTube, I have access to all this stuff, and yeah, there's privacy advocates that say Google wants everything, but they're going to have it, so give it to them. So don't let them steal it. Share with them. Beat them to the punch. And it's pretty cool. I got to give Google credit for creating the best web browsing experience for people who need to get stuff done. That being said, it's so personalized that sometimes I don't use it, like for bank accounts and everything. But just to answer your question, Craig, I also want to recommend an app called LastPass, which you can install in Chrome. They just got purchased. LastPass, because Google will offer to save your passwords. Turn that crap off. Do not give Google your passwords for websites. Just don't do it, please. Use a third-party app. That's the whole function of what they do.
And we had them on the show. We had LastPass on the show.
LastPass, wonderful product on the desktop. I use them, because I don't have time to remember 5,000 passwords, and mostly I don't have the. If I lose one, then I'm all to hell. So I use LastPass. They've been very good to me for 4 or 5 years. In conjoining them with Chrome, I have a very powerful experience that makes me very, very, very efficient. And so that's what I use. I want to get stuff done. I don't want to remember passwords.
I just use the same password. No.
I do too. So if anybody out there is listening, you got my password. Well, good. Break into my bank account and give me some money. Hey, if you break into my bank account and you find any money, let me know.
I never understood that. I had a company that had to make a sizable. I had to make a deposit into my bank account. And, they wanted the wiring service, and the bank wouldn't do it. And I finally talked to the guy. I said, why won't you let them deposit money? Well, we're protecting your security. I said, look, anytime anybody wants to deposit money into my account, anybody, just let them do it. And
sure.
No, we can't. He said, I see what you're saying. He said, but we have to.
It's this
frustrating.
No, this is going to get worse, because a lot of these prophylactics they use to protect your bank account, protect your stuff, they don't really have any effect. There was that lawsuit. They settled that lawsuit with that horrible service, LifeLock. If you listen to any conservative radio for 10 seconds, in between all the gold ads, you're going to hear LifeLock, and you hear the shills saying, I use LifeLock. No, you don't. I use LifeLock. You're a radio guy, Craig. You know how it goes. And you're like, oh, I use this service and I use this service. No, you don't. And it turns out the service was worthless. And they had to pay a legal fee for misleading customers. Here's the thing.
They can afford it. They still have their ads going.
Oh, of course, because they can absorb it. But I'll tell you this. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is this. If anybody's listening, I'll just say this. You take responsibility for how you use this information. But I don't use spyware blockers. I don't use any anti-spam. I don't use any type of antivirus software. Really? I don't open it. Yeah, because first of all, because there's been a lot of hoo-hoo about them being really ineffective. Now, on a Windows machine, I'm tempted to use some. I used to use AVG until it turns out it itself was spyware. And I know you mentioned yesterday you use Avast.
Yeah.
The thing is this: as long as you don't go to naughty websites that stream videos, if you know what I'm talking about, they rhyme with moob. As long as you don't do that, as long as you don't open up strange exe files, don't open up an email where the spelling is worse than your third grade teacher. Don't trust any princes from Nigeria, or if you can't recognize the host language, and if it's for a service you haven't opened up, just don't open up exe emails. Yeah. And don't download illicit programs. Don't bootleg. You'll be pretty fine. And to be honest with you, having a Mac, I hate to be prejudiced, has really been a godsend, because nobody cares about making viruses for Macs. They exist, but not really. You're not going to get a lot of attention from that. But no, if you actually look at the people who get viruses, they were bound to get something. These are the people that think buying car insurance means they can just crash into other cars. Oh, I got insurance. Yeah. Just be cautious. There's a lot of people out there to steal your money, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the companies like, my bank or my or my, my providers getting hacked themselves. You see this every day. Yeah. You find out all your information was on a laptop. Really? So yeah, I'm not too worried about my side of things, because I'm cautious. I'm more worried about other things. So take that as it is. I just don't bother with it.
Yeah. No.
Of course, now I'm going to get hacked after this. Again, if you find money, split it with you. I'll split it with you.
Split it with you, exactly. We didn't have time to. I wanted to get to this Thunderbolt. It's finally getting some traction in PCs, but we just don't have time for that.
We could do it real quick.
We don't have less.
Thunderbolt. Finally, that's all I have to say. As a Mac user, finally, please, more Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolt 2 also is
USB, and by the way, USB Type C is another word for Thunderbolt in a lot of places.
Exactly.
I'm happy about that.
Amazing technology, and
it is. It's very good.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. All right. Well, listen. Again, we're out of time. Coming up on tomorrow's
90
show,
seconds.
we're gonna have. It's gonna be about Bond. Are you a Bond fan? Yes.
James Bond.
No, Ralph Bond. Ralph Bond's going to be on the show. He's from Autodesk. He used to be with Intel for the past 10 years ago. He was with the communications manager. He's written numerous books, and he's one of our correspondents here in Computer America. Ralph Bond's going to be on with us for both hours on Friday. We got some really cool things that we're going to be talking
60
about.
seconds.
He's always a fun show, and Ralph Bond will be joining us tomorrow. Now, again, thanks to Thibaut Chaumet from Seaway. Thanks to him again, and best of luck to him, and thanks for being on the show. And thanks to all of you for watching Computer America. Again, Ben is still out at the Consumer Electronics Show. We'll be out up through Saturday, and we'll be getting all kinds of interesting reports when he comes back from the show. Nathan Evans will be again with me tomorrow on Friday. So we look forward to having all of you back with us again. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you on Friday.
Good night, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We'll see you again.
Bye. Thunderbolt is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody who's watching us on our Google Hangouts, thanks for watching us. Nate, thanks again for being here with me, and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Cool.
And thanks to all of you. We'll see you on Friday at 3 again. Same time, same place.
Hey, Craig, you got a second?
Yeah, I'll just end the broadcast, and then I can talk.
I was going to talk about Thunderbolt for a second.
All right, you want?
Yeah. So
okay.
It's just for a second, because it's not interesting to anybody who doesn't care. But no, I mean, I told Herman at the show to make sure he makes a beeline for a lot of the new, I think it's Acer Asus computers that are adopting Thunderbolt for monitors. You know, I run a dual monitor display on my Mac, and one of my monitors is Thunderbolt. You know, and I love it. I love the flexibility. Because a lot of people don't know this, but if you try running a lot of hard drives on your Windows machine through USB 3, they take up your PC power, your CPU power. And it can be pretty bad.
Hold on. Let me see what this is. Computer America. Yes, it is. Okay, can you hold on a moment? I'll be right with you. Hold on. Nate, I got to take this call.
Yep. Okay.
All right, everybody. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.